Hello and welcome to my channel, I Win to Lose Gaming. Version 4.3's Abyss 12 has bestowed upon us a very unique and fun enemy, the Hydro Tulpa. In today's video, we'll be taking 21 popular teams through our very first 3 million hit point Hydro Tulpa challenge. For the last couple of weeks, me and 6 other speedrunners have been obliterating the menace that is 1231's Hydro Tulpa. This sentient blob of water provides a very unique scenario for our favorite hodgepodge of misfits to wail on, both physically and monetarily. The Hydro Tulpa is our first 3 million hit point enemy in Abyss 12, and it has many unique properties which makes it a very interesting fight. So in this video, we'll be pushing 21 teams to our limits to see how the current meta teams perform. But we've got to do something about being hungry as well, with today's sponsor, HelloFresh. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. You'll be able to save money, eat better, stress less, save time, and never leave the house. Just like me with HelloFresh. HelloFresh is insanely easy to use. No need to blindly perform complex rotations with Pyro, Animo, and Hydro. HelloFresh will hold your hand to make elemental reactions with your food easier than ever. Every recipe is chef crafted by a chef equally as capable as Xiangling. Not only do you min-max your time by skipping the grocery store, preparing HelloFresh's lineup of quick and easy meals only takes 15 minutes. That way you can spend more time doing the important things in life, like cooking in Genshin Impact instead. HelloFresh also comes with a huge amount of variety, with over 30 plus calorie smart and protein smart recipes each week and over 45 dinner options. You'll never get bored of what you're eating. HelloFresh is not only convenient, each meal is reasonably priced and every box comes with 1 free breakfast item as well. But wait, that's not all. Use my coupon code POGWINTOLOSEFREE to save even more money. Huge thanks to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video. 6 other speedrunners, you ask? That's right, I have 6 guest speedrunners featured in this video, with old friends of the channel and new friends alike. Alyss has been one of the best speedrunners known for his Ganyu speedruns back in the day. Mr. 89 has always come in clutch with his favorite characters and is one of the first speedrunners I've ever featured on my channel. And Shintenzu is one of the best, albeit only, Xiao speedrunners in all of Genshin Impact. As for some new faces, we've got Jensen von Jensen, who is one of the best Alhaitham speedrunners in the EN community, and Icillus, who has been smashing EULA records for as long as I can remember. And finally, DHCWSP, who, get this, speedruns many characters on mobile. But don't let the mobile UI fool you, because DHCWSP has some of the best speedrunning times out there. This video wouldn't have been possible without them. So please show them you appreciate their hard work by checking out their channels and subscribing, especially if your mains happen to line up with their mains. Anyway, without further ado, it's time to start everyone's favorite part of the video, the disclaimers. All the runs in this video can be improved. We do each of these runs a finite number of times to the best of our abilities and problem solving. There are always 2 ways to save time, but we have to stop grinding at some point. I advise for you to not come to any premature conclusions if you do not sit through these disclaimers and do not reach the end of the video. In fact, even after these disclaimers and the entire video, this video is not an accurate representation of these characters' power levels at all levels of investment in play. This is simply an anecdotal comparison between these characters at our levels of investment, problem solving, and skill. Because our characters are all at Constellation 6 or 5 and 5, this is not an accurate reflection of the power levels at lower constellations. Just because character A is better than character B in a specific scenario does not mean the character A is better than character B. Please take everything with a giant grain of salt. We'll be jumping off with Shintenzu's Xiao. Frankly, I was impressed that Xiao could even single cycle the Hydro Tulpa. I tried this a couple of times with Xiao and couldn't even manage a single cycle. One really cool trick Shintenzu did here was to hit the Hydro Tulpa's little buddy in order to activate Xiao's Constellation 6, which massively improves his single target DPS. Yet again, Shintenzu came in clutch and managed to actually put Xiao on the board, so kudos to him. Next, let's take a look at how a Nilo Bloom team does. Alright, so unsurprisingly, Nilo teams aren't going to do well here. Despite that, the blooms and raw dendro damage that this team outputs was surprisingly able to single cycle our Hydro Tulpa friend. I really wasn't actually expecting this to be the case, but hey, considering this is a very AoE focused team, it did quite well all things considered. And always eager to rumble, we have Arataki Ito. Now I have to say this every time I use Ito, but my artifacts with Ito aren't the best. Despite this though, he was able to consistently single cycle the Hydro Tulpa thanks to the massive damage that Farina provides him. Now the Abyssal Moon does favor Geo teams currently, but I think our bowl tossing extraordinaire still did quite well. Then we have the fuzzy-eared man himself, Tignari. So you'll notice a trend with the Hydro Tulpa. Unfortunately, spread and aggravate are not possible against this thing, and a spread DPS character like Tignari is just going to rely on raw dendro damage to take this thing out. However, there are some free hyper blooms that we do get with this team. Up next is our favorite standard banner Pyro Claymore character, Dea. So I do think there's room for improvement with Chevreuse here, but alas, time is the limiting factor when it comes to all these runs, and once we start doing more pyro damage character runs, you'll notice many of them are actually abusing Kazuha's Constellation 6. I'll talk more about this in the all-run summary later. And up next we have our favorite standard banner Pyro Claymore character, Diluc. So I do think there's room for improvement with Chevreuse here, and I'm just going to copy and paste what I said about the standard banner Pyro Claymore characters here. Next is our first 4-star DPS character, Hypercarry Xiangling. Yep, thanks to the insane buffs that this team is providing her, Xiangling was able to clear this in just 12.83 seconds. With 244,000 charge attacks, Hu Tao at home vaporized the Hydro Tulpa in a very competitive time. And we've arrived to our first Fontanian DPS character, Wriothesley. So this fight is uniquely difficult for cryo characters due to the fact that you can't pragmatically swirl cryo, and thus Kazuha is not a viable support option. And melt, well, that's obviously certainly out of the question. Despite this, Wriothesley's raw cryo damage was still able to obliterate our Hydro Tulpa friend. And up next is Jensen von Jensen's Alhaitham. It's honestly insane to me that even without spreads and aggravates, this team ranked so high up here. A few free hyper blooms is nice, but doesn't even come close to offsetting the lack of quicken. Leave it to Jensen von Jensen to put out such an impressive Alhaitham showing, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button over at Jensen's channel for more Alhaitham goodness. Then we have our first Raiden variant, Hypercarry Raiden with Chevreuse. Well, we'll be seeing a lot more Chevreuse in a bit, But for now, this variation of Hypercarry Raiden actually outperformed all the other standard Hypercarry Raiden variations that I tried, although we do have one more Raiden variation coming up in a bit. Up next is Mono Pyro Klee. Klee really put a smile on my face with this run. I was not expecting her to be able to clear it this fast, and with the Wriothesley to boot. One of Klee's biggest weaknesses is that she's not able to reliably vapor damage, but against the Hydro Tulpa, obviously that's not an issue. Then we have the firework master herself, Yoimiya. So there is actually a 10-second run for Yoimiya on Bilibili that I will also have in the description below that recently came out, which utilized Yunjin instead of Xiangling. And a 1-second difference is huge to us speedrunners, but still I felt like I should still include my own Yoimiya run, which is still a decent showing of her capabilities here. And nuking away the previous competition, we have Ayaka's Eula. It's great to see such a classic team do so well here. Along with the cooldown reset quality of life features when you restart an Abyss Chamber, Ayaka was able to achieve this 2.5 million damage Eula nuke in quite a reasonable amount of time. Be sure to check out Ayaka's channel for more Eula insanity. Then we have DHCWSP's first run of this video with Wanderer. With the help of a sub-DPS Xiangling and fishing for Echo's procs, that's right, Echo's fishing is now a thing, DHCWSP managed to crack the 11-second mark for Wanderer, which is an incredible feat. Initially I was going to say, hey, go check out this Bilibili 11-second run, but DHCWSP was like, nah man, I got this, so go check out their channel. And don't worry, I did not forget about Ayaka. Similar to the Wriothesley situation, Ayaka isn't able to utilize Kazuha for the ever so important Cryo Shred. Despite this, Ayaka still had a very competitive time here, and it's great to see some lesser used supports like Klee still be a good choice due to these unique circumstances. Raiden's back, but this time with a more pyro-focused team. I actually found this triple pyro team to speed up Raiden's time. Xiangling is frankly just too good for this and contributes much more damage herself than Sara adds to Raiden's damage. And well, we can also see Chevreuse is also going ham here. We'll get back to Chevreuse soon enough. And now we finally reached the top 5 with Mr. 89's Navia. Navia had a wonderful showing on her debut patch, although admittingly this Abyssal Moon does favor her. Mr. 89 actually integrated multiple micro-optimizations here to achieve this time. First, skipping Furina's skill and relying on Bennett's heal to max Furina's fanfare. Then he delayed Zhongli's shield, as that delay actually generated an extra crystallize. Speedrunning really is full of these little details that make all the difference. So don't forget to head over to longtime friend of the channel, Mr. 89's channel to show your support. In 4th place, we have one of the OG speedrunning queens herself, Hu Tao. Funny thing is, I actually copied DHCWSP's Hu Tao run in order to achieve my run. So kudos to DHCWSP for this strategy. Anyway, I doubt any of us are surprised to see Hu Tao perform so well here, given the free vapes and Hu Tao's massive nuking capabilities. But 4th place? Who could possibly be faster than Hu Tao? Yep, you saw that right. In third place, it's main DPS Chevreuse. Honestly, my jaw dropped to the ground when I achieved this. A full 4-star only team managed to get third place in this challenge video, which is completely unprecedented. Chevreuse is actually balanced around not being able to vape her damage. And, well, this is what happens when she can vape. With 3 overcharged balls, the Hydro Tulpa stood absolutely no chance against the long arm of the law. Up next, we have DHC WSP's second place time. The classic Hu Tao plus Ayaka is still one of the best single-chamber nukes in the entire game. Also, DHC WSP is one of the best speedrunners out there and on mobile to boot, so it's no surprise that they managed to achieve this time. Frankly, I was flabbergasted when I saw this iPad UI destroying everything so quickly, so be sure to check out DHC WSP's channel for a variety of speedruns. And last but not least, we have Alyssa's Linny. Linny has just been absolutely dominating speedrunning ever since his release. I personally regret skipping his Constellation 6. And given access to vape, well, boom. Alyssa is, of course, well known for his Ganyu speedruns and has been an extremely talented speedrunner for a very long time. So go check out his channel as well. Alright, we've got all our results here, so now it's time for some post-run analysis. First of all, I mentioned something about swirling pyro with Kazuha, and for most of you kids, don't try this at home, because wackily enough, it's possible with Constellation 6 Kazuha. For some reason, Kazuha's sword pyro infusion from Bennett's burst interacts with Kazuha's Constellation 6 burst or something to provide a pyro swirl on the Hydro Tulpa. It also doesn't activate Kazuha's passive 1. Yep, there's some weird shenanigans going on here with Kazuha here, which is only accessible with Constellation 6 Kazuha. Now, this fight, the Hydro Tulpa, is obviously a very pyro favored fight. Being pyro swirlable by Constellation 6 Kazuha and always vapeable, many a pyro DPS overperformed against the Hydro Tulpa in comparison to, let's say, an enemy with 3 million hit points that wouldn't be permanently Hydro infused. Equally interesting are the elements that this fight doesn't favor. Dendro-focused teams, especially ones that focus on spread and aggravate damage, are at a huge disadvantage, as these reactions are no longer possible against the Hydro Tulpa. Despite this though, I think the Dendro team still did quite well here, since they were relying on their raw Dendro damage with a few free Hyper Blooms. Obviously, it goes without saying that Hydro DPS characters like Nuvillette, who would have done pretty well, are completely out of the question here. Character usage here is also really interesting, with Bennett absolutely dominating, being seen on 17 out of the 21 teams. His flexibility to use the Freedom Sword, Instructors, or Noblesse, his healing, and biggest attack buff in the game are clearly invaluable here. Kazuha was the next most commonly seen support, even without his passive 1 for Pyro characters, being used 8 times, and Xiangling was actually next as a sub-DPS character being used 7 times. Also, as we started doing these runs, we initially used Furina a lot more, but her lack of ability to do damage against the Hydro Tulpa and her long startup time led to Furina being used less and less. Despite that though, Furina was still used 6 times even though she's unable to do any damage to the Hydro Tulpa, which just shows how incredible of a support she still is. Now personally, I think the biggest surprise to me is Chevreuse's performance. A 4-star only team with Fischl and Chevreuse coming in 3rd place in a challenge like this is frankly unheard of. Considering all the Constellation 6 5-star characters that she's up against, this is pretty insane. Anyway, huge thanks to all the guest speedrunners with old friends of the channel like Mr. 89, Alyss, and Shintenzu, and new friends of the channel, the Alhaven specialist Jensen von Jensen, the Ulanuker, Isilus, and the mobile speedrunner DHC WSP. Seriously, this video wouldn't have been possible without them, so go check out their channels for more speedrunning content and subscribe to them. Also, huge thanks to today's sponsor, HelloFresh. Fun fact, after my wife realized I was sponsored by HelloFresh, she told me immediately to get some of it, so it does appear to be a great product. Links to all this stuff will be down in the comments below. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. This is I Went to Lose, signing out.